Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Liza, and today in this video I'm going to talk about the numerology, but about the matrix of resources. So we have matrix of destiny, and I recorded a lot of different videos explaining what is a matrix of destiny, meanings of different numbers. But today I want to talk about the matrix of resources, and many of you asked me about it because in my practice, in my work, in the sessions, in numerology sessions with me, I use both matrix of resources and matrix of destiny. So what is matrix of resources? Resources is something that is given to us when we were born, and we have 9 different numbers standing for different resource, and I'm going to talk about each of the resource today in this video, and I'm also going to explain how to build the matrix of resources chart, how to calculate it. And so we have different resources, 9 different resources, and we have a specific norm. And so sometimes we have the norm, we are within the norm, but sometimes we are over the norm, or we don't have certain numbers. And if we don't have certain numbers, or if we have over the norms, there are certain things we need to pay attention to and be careful. If we don't have some resources, it doesn't mean that we're gonna struggle with that for the whole life. No, if we don't have some resources, there's a way how we can develop and get all those resources. If we have too much of certain resources, so we always want to give them to other people. That's why it's important. I use matrix of resources for compatibility as well. When people come like couples to me and I want to see, okay, what resources do you guys exchange? So that's why I always ask for the date of birth of the partner. So if you don't have certain resources, if you are in relationships, you can get resources from your partner. If you have too much of certain resources and your partner doesn't have enough, you can give it to your partner as well. If we are kids and if we live with our parents until the age of 10, I would say, our parents also make an impact on us, so we can exchange resources with our parents as well. But when we are grown up, we have our partners, our relationships. That's the way how we can get and exchange resources as well, how we can help each other. And sometimes you can see that if it's a couple, you can see that people are exactly the same, so meaning that lots of different things look like in a mirror. If you don't like something about the person, it means that you have that. So based on the matrix of resources, you can actually see what type of relationship is that. Is it a destiny relationship? You were meant to be together and meet. Maybe it's a karmic relationships. Maybe it's a mirror relationships. Maybe it's vertical relationships. Maybe it's a relationships which we call like the owner, like a person who is above and a person who is below, like the victim and the owner of whatever is happening in life. I will explain it later, maybe in different videos, but that's what I use matrix of resources for, to explain all of that and to see certain resources, to see your strengths as well, to see and understand other people better. So let's start with calculating, and then while I'm calculating, I will also explain the meanings of different resources and the specific norm which we should have. So in order to begin with, what's important to say is that there are 2 different ways, not completely different, but different ways calculating matrix of resources based on the year when you were born. If you were born between 2000, excluding 2000, 1999, there's a one way of calculating the matrix of resources. If you were born in 2000 and after 2000 in 21st century, it's a little bit another way to calculate your matrix of resources. There is only one step which is going to be different. So right now I'm going to start explaining how to calculate the matrix of resources if you were born before 2000. So I'm going to take my date of birth. So it's pretty straightforward, right? You've seen it so many times. So my date of birth is September 17th, 1997. And for the matrix of resources, what we have to do, we have to sum up all the digits here. So September, it's 9, plus 1, plus 7, plus 1, plus 9, plus 9, plus 7 again. And I already know all of my sums here, so it's going to be 43. Here, from this 43, if it's 2 digits, you have to sum up again 4 plus 3. I'll write it 4 plus 3. It would be 7. Okay? That's our first step. Then second step, we take 43, this number, again, and 43, we have to subtract 2. And we get 41. Again, 4 plus 1, it's 2 digits, we need 1. 4 plus 1 is 5. And then we are building our chart. Looks like a table. Sorry for my mess, but it makes sense. And we are going to put all our numbers from 1 to 9. That's part of the matrix of resources. We have from 1 to 9. And I will just use the red color to show you how we put the numbers. So we start with 1 here, 2 here, 3, then 4, then 5, 6. Here it's going to be 7, 8, and 9. Okay, so what we're going to do, out of all these numbers that we have, all of these numbers, we have to put them in the table. Except since we have 43 ones, don't use it twice, so we're not going to use this 43. We're using that 43. And so now what I'm going to do, now I'm going to see how many number ones do I have. This is 1, 2, and 3. So I'll put 3 number ones. Let's go for number 2s. I only have 1 number 2. Gonna go here. For number 3, I have it here, right? Also 1, number 3. Then for number 4, I have 1 and 2. We're not counting this 43 again, okay, because we already have it. Make sure you don't get the numbers repeated. So we have 2 number 4s. Then we move to number 5. In my case, I have 1 number 5. And number 6, I don't have any number 6. So I just put it like this, blank. There's nothing, or you can keep it blank. Then number 7, I have 3 number 7s. 1, 2, and 3, right? So I put it here, 1, 2, and 3. Now we move to number 8. I don't have any number 8s, so again, nothing here. And 9s. For 9s, I have 3. 1, 2, and 3. Okay. 1, 2, and 3. So we used all of these numbers. We use number 5 here as well. I'll just highlight it like this. To build this table, to build this matrix of resources chart. And so this is, I'll use different color. This is your matrix of resources chart. Okay. Let's try now calculating and taking another random day. Just one more example. If you were born before 2000, remember that we have to subtract 2. If you were born before 2000, excluding 2000, 1999. And let's take any, I'm just gonna come up with something random. I don't know, let's do May 4th, 1971. Let's try that way. So May is 5 plus 4 plus 1 plus 9 plus 7 plus 1 equals, it's going to take me a little bit longer time to calculate it because that's the first time I'm doing it randomly. I just came up with this number. So let's go 9, 10, this is 10, 27 if I got it right? So this is 9, 10, 27, yes. So what we do, it's 2 plus 7, it's going to be 9. Then we take this 27 and we subtract 2. And it equals to 25, and 2 plus 5, it's 7. Okay, so again, we do not include this 27 because we already have it. And so let's start building our table or chart, call it however you want. And let's start with number 1. We have 1, 2, and that's it. Then let's move to number 2s. We have 1, 2, and 3. Put 3 of them. Then let's go to number 3. We don't have any number 3, so we'll just put a blank space here. Number 4. We have 1 number 4. Number 5, we have 2. For 6, we don't have any. 7, let's try this color. 1, 2, 3. 3 number 7s. Number 8, nothing for number 8. And we have 2 number 9s. And that's how our chart looks like. Again, this is this table. That's our matrix of resources. So all those resources which were given to that person, we can see that person doesn't have some resources, like nothing here, nothing here. And as I said, I will get back to the meaning of the numbers. But let's move to the people who were born after 2000. Okay? As I said, one step is going to be different. And the step where if people were born before 2000, we were subtracting 2. But here we will have to add 19. Okay? So let's take random date. Just coming up to my mind. What I'm recording this video is on June 7th, 2013, 10 years ago. This person has a birthday today, 10 years old. Okay, let's see. So what we do, same idea, 6 plus 7 plus 2 plus 1 plus 3. Again, since it's a random number, let me do my math. It's going to be 15, 16, 19. Right? 19. Let me try one more time. Yes, 19. 19, we do again 1 plus 9. It's going to be 10. Oh, that's a good example I came up with. What's important when we get 10, it stays as 10. We don't do anything else. We don't do again 1 plus 0, it's 1. No, we keep it as 10. When person has during this step number 10, it just means that this person in his or her life has lots of opportunities, lots of open doors and unlimited possibilities in life. Okay, that's for you extra information. You just got lucky. So yeah, we don't do anything with number 10. But what we do here, we take our 19, this 19, plus another 19, which I told you we have to add if person was born after 2000. This 19 is not going to go into our calculation. Another 19 is going to go into our calculation. I know that's confusing, but it's 38. And 3 plus 8, it's 11. Okay. Let's build our chart, our table. And let's start with number 1s. Let's see how many we have. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 number 1s. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Number 2. And I missed one. Not even 5. I highlighted this 10. Let me write it again because I missed it. Because I already highlighted it. It's going to be 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes, one more. My bad. Because I put it in blue line and I didn't notice it. Number 2, and we have 1. Let's go with number 3. For number 3, we have 1 and 2. Number 3s. Then number 4, there is no number 4, no number 5. We have 6 here. Number 7, do we have 7 here? 1 number 7. We have 8, 1 number 8. And we have 2 number 9s. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Right? I put 6 number 1s. It's extra, a lot of number 1s. So, as you could see in all the examples I give you, some spaces we don't have anything. For some, for example, here we have a lot of number 1s. Here we had a lot of number 7s, right? In my case, I have a lot of 7s and 9 as well. That's critical, could be even more. So again, important point to remember here when you build your matrix of resource chart or table. If you were born before 2000 until including 999, you have to subtract number 2. If you were born in the 21st century, in 2000 and so on, you have to add 19. Okay? That's very important to remember. Do not forget to add these numbers because it's gonna mess up everything. Okay? Meaning of the numbers. Number 1, I'm gonna go with this. Or let me tell you the norm. We have a certain norm. This is the norm, which we are supposed to have in terms of the resources. So the norm is to have 2 number 1s, and number 1s are responsible for the way we can speak, how we can explain things, the verbal, the communications through the verbal form, how the public speaking skills as well, explaining information. Right now, for example, I'm explaining information to you, right? And let's say the norm is to have 2, but in my case, I have 3 number 1s. So it's easier for me to explain things than for some other people. It naturally comes to me. I always enjoy public speaking and I never had any problems. I never prepared for different presentations. It just flows. It's easy. It was given to me. My communication, I prefer to communicate through the verbal form than through the written form. People who have only 1 number 1, it's not possible not to have number 1 at all. That's why when people born after 2000, that's why we add 19, because it's not possible not to have number 1. That's why we add number 1 and number 9. It also goes, we'll talk about it later, to the chart. Okay, so if person doesn't have or only has 1 number 1, it just means the person may struggle with communicating, expressing his or her thoughts, maybe have more pauses when speaking, losing the idea, maybe he can explain things and talk well, but other people are not going to understand what he or she is saying. Other people will struggle understanding. There are just lots of words, but what is the idea? What would this person is talking about? So again, as I said, all resources, we can work on all resources and we can develop them. So it just means, I always say to people who are struggling with number 1, only have 1 number 1, you can develop it. You can work on your public speaking skills. You can do lots of other different things like reading more, talking more, meeting more with people, maybe doing lives or recording videos. There are lots of other resources I also give and tips I give to people who have only 1 number 1s. And people who have a lot of number 1s, it's also about the leadership skills and also about like maybe creativity skills, different talents, singing, doing music, drawing, dancing. So it just depends on how many number 1s you have. So there's a certain criteria. If you have, let's say, 3 number ones, there's a specific things, 4 number ones, 5 number ones, or 6 number ones, as we saw it here. But when it's too much, it reaches at some point a critical point, and there are certain things which are very important to remember, which I'm not going to talk in details right now because it should be a completely different topic, because that's a lot of information. Number 2, the norm for number 2 is to have 2 number 2s. So it's not possible not to have number 2 at all. That's why for people who were born before 2000, that's why we subtract number 2. We add this number 2 to the people who were born before 2000, because number 2 is responsible for physical energy, for physical resources. Your, like, how much physical energy do you have to go and do the thing? So you probably guess if people have only 1 number 2, it's hard for them to finish the tasks. They always have to push themselves. They need more like time off, relaxation, taking naps during the days. They don't have a lot of physical strength to complete everything. And people who have more number 2s, again, it just means they have a lot of energy to go and execute, and in the majority of cases help even others. That's a brief overview which I'm trying to give you right now. For number 3, the norm is to have 1 number 3. Number 3 is responsible, I call it the feminine logic, all uneven numbers, 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. They are related to the female energies, and even numbers, they're the opposite, male energy. So number 3 is the women's, the feminine logic, being able to adapt to different situations in life, communicating with other people, understanding other people, doing the housekeeping stuff, like householding things, a certain routine, cleaning, organizing, all of those things. Like number 3 is responsible for all of that. Then, and if there's more than the norm, there are certain things, again, which you have to remember when it comes to maybe people who have a lot of number 3s. They have a lot of things at home. They need to declutter a lot. They keep their emotions inside of them, and lots of other things. So again, I'm trying to give you the brief information and definition and meaning of the number. Next is number 4. The norm is to have 1 number 4. And number 4 is responsible for self-discipline, for following all the rules, for understanding that there are certain rules and laws. If you come to a new team, you understand that there is a certain set of rules which you have to follow. So if it's within the norm, you understand all of this and you know what's going on. It's also about making sure that everything is correct and accurate. So people who have more than the norm, that's when the perfectionism comes, trying to make sure that everything ideal. They're trying to control not only themselves, but they're trying to control others, that it has to be this way. This is the right way to do. So people who has more than that, more than the norm, like 2 or 3 number 4, sometimes they are too into following all the rules. It has to be this way, it has to be this way, and this and this, and I said this, so it's a little bit hard. They feel trapped in all of those things and limitations they put for themselves. And another side, people who don't have number 4, they don't care about anything. They live their lives, they do however and whatever they want to do. And there are certain things people who don't have number 4s, they need to be aware of and pay attention to, but it's again a different topic and discussion. Number 5, the norm is to have 1. It's middle of everything, because in the matrix of resources also, this line means one thing, this line means another thing, this line, and if this line and this lines, actually there's a meaning for certain rows and columns and diagonals. So again, it's a separate discussion for that, because that's a lot. But as you could see, the number 5 is in the middle of everything. So that's why number 5 is important. Number 5 is responsible for the emotions and feelings, how we express our feelings and emotions, how we express them to other people, to this world. And it's also the main feminine energy number, right? It's in the center of everything. So people who don't have number 5, sometimes it can be hard for them to express whatever's inside. So outside picture and inside the form different, they're different. The outside and inside form, they're different, they do not match. Maybe you feel upset and unhappy about something, but people ask you and you say everything is good. So many people don't really know what's happening in your life. Many people don't know who you are, what's inside of you, your true self. So that sometimes can be hard building the relationships with other people, especially romantic relationships. If your partner doesn't have number 5 and you have, and the other way around, you may struggle understanding each other and understanding each other's love languages. So that's another point of number 5. Number 6, the norm is to have one number 6, and number 6 is responsible. Number 3, we had a feminine logic, and number 6 is male logic. Number 6 is responsible for organizing things, structuring everything. It's analytical thinking, so using all the analytic data base your decision and choices on the data. Doing like IT people who have a lot of number 6, they're pretty good at IT with numbers as well. It's just easier for them, like statistics, structures, organizations, and self-confidence goes here. Like having the self-worth, self-confidence. If you don't have this number, you may struggle with that. If you have more than that, you have the more. So norm, maybe you're too arrogant and sometimes too selfish and think about yourself only. So there are certain things which we need to be aware of when it comes to number 6. So number 7, the norm is to have 1. Number 7 is responsible for intuition. So what is intuition? It's always important to talk about that because many people, they think about something different. Intuition is to get, like, intuition is when you know that you have to do certain things that way, but you cannot explain why. There are no facts, there's no logic, nothing. You just have to do it that way. You just know it just suddenly came to it. And intuition is about this present moment. Intuition is not about the feeling you have for the future events, for future trips, or whatever it could be. It's about this present moment. You get this advice, tip from universe, from God, from heaven, in whatever you believe in, or your angels. They're giving you this advice, like you have to do it this way, try it. And people who have number 7, this intuition works for themselves only. So many people I meet, they say to me, oh, have a good intuition, and they start giving advice to other people because they have a good intuition. But if you have only one number 7, it just means that this intuition works for you. It doesn't work for anybody else. It's only yours. If you have 2 number 7s, meaning that you have an intuition for your close family or close people, like your partner in relationships, if you are, or your family members, you can feel as well for them. If you have more than that, you can feel for other people, and you start saving other people. You're very sensitive as well, so you can feel things not only for yourself but for a lot of other people. So again, intuition is about this present moment, not based on any logic, not based on any facts. You just know that you have to do that, but you cannot explain why. Okay, that's your extra gift, your tip, advice, which are given to you from above. Number 8, the norm is to have one number 8, and number 8 is, I call it the gifts from above as well. So we have number 7, some tips and advice, and number 8 are the gifts, the material things and gifts. It's being able and have the right to ask something, the universe, and get it without making any extra effort. So if you have number 8, one number 8 and the norm, or in general if you have number 8, 2 or 3, I highly encourage you to use manifestations, clearly know what you want, write it down, because you have this opportunity to ask. If you ask it properly and know how to ask, you will get the things in life, opportunities, people, Like you will have this extra help coming from above to you, but it has to be genuine and it has to be your own desire and with a good intentions why you want something. People with 3 number 8s, they're called the lucky people in life. If you're working with this person can bring lots of luck and abundance to your life. Those people really need to manifest and clearly know what they want to achieve and get in life. People who don't have number 8, it just means that in order to get the luck and in order to get the gift, they have to work a lot. Nothing is going to be given easy to them, only by working hard. You can work towards those gifts. It doesn't mean that you're not going to be given anything at all. It just means that in order to achieve things in life, you need to work a lot and way more than people who have number 8, for example. Okay. And number 9, the norm is to have 2 number 9s. Number 9s are responsible for setting up the goals, being goal oriented. So if you have the norm, you are good with setting the goals, clearly knowing what you want, what are you planning to achieve in this life. If you don't have the norm, if you have 1 number 9, it just means that sometimes you are struggling setting up the goals, you're struggling understanding what do you want. And people who have more than a norm, like 3 number 9s or 4 number 9s, it just means that you have too much goals and desires. You want too much, you want this and this and this and this, and your whole life it's about running and achieving things, and like your whole life it's about goals. Like your life equals achieve the goal. So that's the whole point and idea of your life, which can be tricky because you have too many goals in your life. Maybe try to identify which ones are yours. What do you truly want? Because you can get lost in your ideas, in your goals, in your whole life. As I said, you're like, like a hamster running, achieve this, I'm dead, I can't do anything, I'm exhausted. Okay, let's move on. Let's run. That's a whole life for people who have a lot of number 9s. If they have a lot of goals in front of them and they keep on running, and they forget to stop and enjoy the life. Okay, so that was a brief explanation of the matrix of resources and all the 9 numbers in a matrix of resources. That's the norm which we are supposed to have. And let me know how you feel about that. Let me know how you feel about the matrix of resources. What are your thoughts? Let me know if you want to know more about it, and if you want me to explain all numbers in details, specific, like let's say if we have 1 number 1, what it means. Like we have 3 number 1s, 4 number 1s, 5 or 6, what does it mean? So if you're interested, or if you're interested in specific numbers, let me know. I would be more than happy to explain this all to you. And of course, as I said, with a matrix of resources, there are certain columns that in rows that are responsible, like some for career, some with the connection with the God, with the heaven, with the angels, and some for the love, and some of them for the home and family. So you can play around with that. So let me know if you want to know more. And if you're struggling calculating your matrix of resources, let me know. I will help you and assist you with that. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. Again, I'm always here and ready to share my knowledge with you. Thank you everyone for watching, and I see you in my next video. Bye bye.